Hi, Brave Parents. It's Laura from the Brave Girl Project, and I have two questions. Is your child a good problem solver? And do you let your child or teen solve their problems? It is sometimes very hard to allow our children, especially our young ones, in solving their problems on their own. We like to step in as parents, but it is essential, important, and vital that your child have practice in solving their problems. I want to walk through a couple of the different steps in teaching problem solving that are going to be important, whether your child is young and still in elementary school, or you have someone that is in high school and you're realizing maybe I've been doing a lot of problem solving and not allowing my child to be more autonomous in handling this. Or maybe they turn to me very frequently, and I'm now getting a little worried that as they are getting ready for the next steps after high school, they're not as prepared as they need to be. When we look at our anxious students, they often do not have good problem solving skills. In terms of mental health, it's important that we have the opportunity for our kids to do this. First thing when we're teaching problem solving skills is we first want to help our children identify what the problem is. Now, depending on the age of your child, there'll be more modeling of this, whereas with our older kids, it may be simply sharing a framework and then letting them know that if they need to run ideas by you, that you're there to listen and support. But we're not going to step in and offer suggestions, especially with our teens. With our young ones, we might help them develop some of that. But step one is, what is the problem? What is causing the discomfort? What might it be stemming from? Because sometimes there's an aspect that they don't like, but it's not really the problem. The problem is under the surface that they need to explore a little. And asking the question, what would you like to have be different? That can help get them thinking creatively. The second thing that we want to help teach our kids when we're doing problem solving, sometimes we get a little trapped in the emotions or the intensity of the problem. But we want to help them step back and look at the issue rather than the person or the emotions. When we can remove ourselves a little bit, it helps us think more objectively. You could share some examples when you may have done this in your own life. We want our kids to learn how to regulate their emotions and not be triggered in situations where they might become argumentative or they might have the overflow of emotions where they break down. Looking at the issue rather than the emotions and the problem with the person. The third step is listening. We can listen as a parent, but our kids really need to listen to the other person that's in the situation with them, understanding what that other person is experiencing, stepping into empathy and seeing things from that other person's perspective. The fourth step is having our child generate possible solutions or next steps. We want to brainstorm at least 5 different ideas. The more ideas we have, the more opportunities we have to find different ways at looking at the problem. We could actually look at a pro and con list for each solution. What would be the best thing that might come from using this solution? And what might be some possible cons? Then teaching your child to implement and take action. The next part is we want to evaluate how things went. Talking to them afterwards. Hey, how did it go? Did you have a chance to talk to your teacher? Because maybe there was a problem with how something was graded. Then, if there's still a problem, what would be a step that you could take to solve that? The thing that I have seen with some of my clients is that they rely very heavily on their parents or other adults in their life for problem solving. And it really limits them in terms of their self-esteem, their quick thinking that they might need in an uncomfortable situation. As our kids step into more unique issues, as their friend groups become more important to them, it's going to be very important that our kids have that ability to do some problem solving. One thing that may come up as a parent, our perfectionism might be one of the reasons we're not allowing our child to do some of that problem solving. We might have some fears and we're letting the fears control us and not letting our child manage some of those problems. We might think, I just need to do this. They can't handle this. And the message that our kids and teens receive is that they can't handle it. They come up with the wrong answers, or we don't like the way that they do it. We want our children to be independent adults. And so allowing them to do things in a way that is not the same as the way you would do it, that's important. Allowing them to stretch into that discomfort. We know anxiety wants two things, it wants comfort and certainty. And when there is a problem, we feel uncomfortable and we feel uncertain. And we want our children to tolerate that so that they can become better at it. We don't want our kids to avoid situations. So, working with your child and asking, how can you solve that? That sounds tough. What do you think you should do? Looking for places where your child can do problem solving for the family. Experience is a way for them to problem solve and to learn future things that they need to be aware of in that process. I hope that this has been helpful because I have seen some of my friends really having some of that issue where it's just really hard to step into problem solving. So make sure as a parent that you're allowing them to step into that discomfort. And I know that means also for us that we're in some discomfort as well. But I know that you can do this. If you have concerns, please reach out. I'm happy to give you some ideas. I'm happy to talk with your child or your teen. Maybe there may be an opening for some individual coaching, or maybe they would enjoy joining the Brave Girl Tribe, which is my community for girls in fifth to eighth grade. So, sweet friends, continue to live life bravely and let's encourage our kids to be the problem solvers and take action in their own world. See you soon, sweet friends. Bye.